You've probably heard that your thoughts create your reality. But here's the truth. It's not what you think that manifests, it's what you feel. The law of attraction gets all the attention, but the real force behind it is the law of resonance. And if you're constantly attracting what you don't want, it's time to look at what you're actually vibrating with, not just what you're hoping for. My name's Michael Perry, and I'm joined today by Justin. And this is the new Ashla Podcast. Hello and welcome to the new Ashla Podcast. Today we are diving into the law of attraction, which is all over the place. But I feel most people don't understand what the law of attraction really is, which is why I wanted to correlate the law of resonance. I know I've talked about universal laws and wanting to do some episodes around them, but this is one of the core laws that can explain why your life is the way it is. So what are your thoughts around the law of attraction, Justin? I know you've had a lot of different feelings around it.
Wish it, want it, do it.
Yeah.
Just think positive and you'll attract what you desire. You've heard that before, right? I know I have. It's a nice sentiment, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's really a lot incomplete and really misleading if you just kind of present it that way. That's the way a lot of people present the law of attraction. So, we're not picking on the law of attraction today. We're just actually building a good platform for you to use it. Because what we think isn't always what we believe. And that's the problem. And what we believe, or what we think we believe, isn't always what we're vibrating. The energy we're putting out there, the emotions, and all the secret sauce that you really need to make this work. So this episode isn't about rejecting the idea of attraction. It's about deepening it. So clarifying it, really.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the positivity aspect. Like, I spent most of my life in that toxic positivity of I'm just going to tune out the bad, go with the good, hope for the best, and I want to attract the life I want. That never happened.
Right.
And it's because as we do this work, we start to realize all these things we've compounded that mess with our vibration, like energetic blocks, and repressing all this trauma, repressing all my emotions did nothing but create tons of energetic blocks.
Yeah. So I think our intention today is to move past these really superficial affirmations and positive thinking type stuff and step into this kind of real spiritual mechanism of creation, which is resonance. The vibration, the energy, the flow, all this stuff. It's all important. And I think that we need to make sure that we, again, talk about how not trying to control every aspect and choking the life out of it to make it do what you think it should do or how you should do it kind of gets in the way too. So we're really going to be exploring how the energy that we carry and that we resonate, right? Not just the things we say, shapes what we attract and sustain in our lives. So this isn't just metaphysics. This is really, for Ashla, it's a spiritual responsibility.
Yeah. Well, it's like you'll notice, as you start to realize the vibrations you're at, like it's all these buzzwords, vibration, but there is this level of energetic presence you bring to your life. And that energetic presence, you might feel like you're calm and collected on the outside, but if you're vibrating at a disharmonious place, and something negative happens in your life, that's going to just create this overflow of emotion. This is about taking your inner vibration and bringing it to a place of stability, a place of purity.
Right.
Which is a lot of what the Ashla path is it's taking ourselves, creating that authenticity, because there's nothing that vibration thrives more on than authenticity.
Right. Yeah. So law of attraction. And this is what I believe most people think of when they think of law of attraction. It's like attracts like, that your thoughts shape all of your reality. What you focus on is what you attract. And in a lot of ways, that's true. Kind of, high level, that's true. But it only takes you so far, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like, I love this analogy I heard in a video probably a year or two ago that was talking about, it's like, if you want $1 million, you don't affirm to yourself, I'm going to get $1 million. That's talking in the future tense. That's talking in what ifs and maybes. You need to embody that you are a millionaire. And I'm not saying you do that, you're going to become a millionaire, but this is just sort of a good way to give a representation of what this is.
Well, not with that attitude, you won't.
You got me there.
No, I mean, but that's kind of what we're talking about. It's like, you're saying something right now, you're talking about this, and you're trying to meet reality where it is. And here I am is like, just be positive, not with that attitude, you know.
Yep.
And that's important. Look, the law of attraction helps people find hope, really, in a sense, right? It helps you feel like you have power. You're not at the mercy of just all this random crap happening around you, right?
Right.
That you get to be a co-creator in your life, in your experience. And that's really beautiful. What's really beautiful about it, because there's this empowerment in realizing that you're at the wheel, you're driving, you're not just sitting in the back seat being taken for a ride. You're actually doing some of this, right? And this is why things like affirmations and vision boards, scripting and whatever else, they give us this sense of focus. They really help us kind of laser in on our desires and kind of clarify them.
Yeah.
And they really get us dreaming again. Or they bring us to this place where we can imagine ourselves doing really, really well. But if you're not careful, that's where this distortion begins, because it's not magic, right?
There's this level of connection that happens. You said it perfectly earlier about beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're trying to we talk about affirmations, you say the same affirmations in the mirror every day. You're slowly ingraining these neural pathways, creating these belief systems.
Oh, we were choking on water. It's not vodka. It's water.
And that's what took him out.
Oh, live on TV. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're good. But when you go through life, for instance, if you're someone who is passive, you can't just convince yourself that you can now stand up in a fight, stand your ground, and be vocal about all your stuff. That is just not how we're wired. Your mind may be able to consciously absorb this thought process, but to believe it in your nervous system, which is really where this vibration lies, that takes a lot more work than just simple affirmations, because it goes from thinking to believing.
Yeah. Well, it's a mirror. You don't get what you want. You get what you are resonating with, vibrating with, energetically aligned with. You can't just say, I'm abundant, while your energy is full of fear and scarcity and self-doubt.
Yeah.
And expect to, have this, have it rain on you with money and stuff. You just can't do that. It just doesn't work that way. And that's where, and that's what I said earlier, this is where the distortion begins, because, you can say all these things, and you can set up your space, and you can do the feng shui and do all this and that, and you could speak the magic words, but if you're not in alignment with what you're saying, you're going to have a tough time. Yeah. So, because people are trying to attract a place of lack, right? They'll visualize love and the desire to be loved and have a partner and things like this, while also fearing abandonment or, this kind of thing. Or they'll try to affirm health while resenting their bodies.
Right.
So, it just, the universe doesn't respond to our words. It responds to our frequency, because the universe is energy, and we have to align with that, right?
Right. Well, I think another big thing is, we live in a age where media tries to tell us what we want. We want a new car, want the newest phone, we want to travel, we want to be free agents in our own workforce. But it's like, what of these desires is really aligned with your authentic self? And how much of it is coming from just a place of lack or scarcity, or not having what everyone else thinks I should have?
Right.
And I think so often many of us get trapped in these material lifestyles we crave so much. And that's putting energy out there, not towards what truly is inside, but what we consciously think we want, what ego thinks we want. Right. And ego, it thrives in our lower vibrations.
And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. This is where me and my my colleagues, if you will, differ. It's fine to want those things. I'm okay with that. But you have to resonate with that. You got to put yourself in a place beyond survival, right? You got to move out of that spot, as we talk about a lot, because again, the universe doesn't respond to your words, and your frequency is shaped by but just by your thoughts. That is part of it, but by your nervous system, your emotions, your what you're embodying, your beliefs, right?
Yeah.
Especially the ones that are unconscious. We've talked about this before, where, all these things are just happening in the background, all these kind of administrative stuff that you've thought too often or said too often that are generally negative. Those are going to be roadblocks for you. Again, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be prosperous and having cars and money and whatever, because that's just a physical form of flow, money, right? It's
Yep.
okay to have that because it's an exchange. Greg the tree. I exchanged money for Greg the tree. Say hi, everybody, to Greg. But that was an exchange. And there's nothing wrong with that exchange, but you can't expect a windfall if you are constantly in the back of your mind going, I don't deserve this, I don't deserve this, or lack, 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 lack.
Yeah.
So, right? And that's really what we're talking about. That's why resonance is such an important part of this that we'll get into today.
100%. So, coming into the law of resonance, which we brought up earlier, what is the law of resonance?
Well, everything is energy. Literally everything, right?
Yeah.
And it's vibrating and flowing and pulsating and radiating at unique frequencies. This includes your thoughts, but also your emotions and your memories and your beliefs and your body and Greg the tree and everything. Resonance is this energetic harmony. We'll do this one today, where you're aligning with these different frequencies between what you are and what you experience. It's not simply thinking about something into being, like doing the old Professor X pose, right? When the little circles come out of you,
Yeah.
It's about embodying the frequency of that experience.
Well, it's kind of like they say how like bad luck follows the unlucky and how luck follows those who are lucky.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same type of concept. The embodiment of this person's vibration is bringing into their life the exact circumstances and situations to continue on the belief systems this person has cultivated.
Yeah. And here's where we kind of tease the kind of high level generalization of the law of attraction. And in a lot of spiritual circles, they will avoid this like the plague. This statement about the say, you do not attract what you want, you attract what you are.
Yeah. 100%.
You hear it a lot though, you really do. And I'm not teasing them or making fun of them. I'm just saying that's only a half measure, right?
Yeah.
And this is where the dissonance comes in. This is where the frequencies get all jacked up.
Yeah, because it's like it's like the resistance you have to the things you want.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many times when you want something so bad that you're afraid to lose it, how you will almost always lose it because there is more energy going into what you're losing compared to the abundance you should be feeling from this.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, you want love, but your nervous system and your emotions and somewhere in the back of your operating system here, you're still bracing yourself to be betrayed because you were betrayed before or hurt before. Oh. So you want peace, but all you can think of consciously and unconsciously is all those stories. We talk about stories a lot, how we're trying to perform alchemy to rewrite the stories and to become the author instead of just being taken for a ride, right? So we want peace, but our mind just runs on these stories of fear and failure. Desire without embodiment. And when I say embodiment here today, I'm talking about alignment with these frequencies. You can have all the desire you want, but if you don't align, you create resistance instead of resonance. So today's mantra is resonance over resistance. Because you can want to push and what you want or what you long for further away by not paying attention to your resonance. Because, and I hope we're gonna get into this later, and I'll try to remember, but because like, remember how I was talking about prayer before, and I'm not a fan of the prayer where you're begging for everything. This is kind of because when you beg for something, it means you're telling yourself you don't have it, right?
Yeah.
And in today's topic, the act of wanting, just want to, I want, also kind of emits this frequency of lack because you're saying that you don't have it.
Well, even the Bible talks about it in prayer. It's like when you pray to God, see it as done.
Mm-hmm.
And that is exactly what that means. I mean, it's when you pray to God, it is thank you for helping me secure this home I am going to buy. Thank you for the health you have bestowed upon me while you're healing from your stuff. It is to ingrain the belief of alignment instead of that lack, like you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I know it sounds like I'm making fun of the law of attraction, and I'm not, I promise you. But this is why we really need to focus on resonance, because it's not about forcing or trying to control. It's about aligning again. It's about becoming that version of yourself who already lives in the reality you're creating, who
Yeah.
already feels worthy of it, or safe with it, or connected with it on some soul level, right?
Yeah.
You can say the right words, you can post in the vision boards, and I'm not making fun of those either. I'm not making fun of any of that. I use many of those tools myself. But if your energy contradicts that intention, the universe is going to respond to your frequency, not your practice.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the things that people misinterpret is like vision boards and stuff like that can be so powerful. And yes, they do exactly what you think, where you have this thing you want ahead of you that you're looking at all the time, that's constantly reaffirming the things you want in life. But are you looking at this thing and seeing this as this is my future? Or is this what I want to be my future?
Yes. Yes. And we need to stop asking, how do I get what I want? Tell me, please tell me, how do I get what I want? I'm begging you. I'm begging you. We need to be asking ourselves, who must I become to naturally receive what I'm, right?
For anyone listening who is like, what is the thing I can do? What is the one thing that can start bringing these things to fruition? I can tell you the number one thing: take action. My God. That is the one thing most people lack in their life, and that is just putting their feet one step in front of them as they pursue their goals. When we spend time in idolization of what we want to do, we never end up taking action doing what we want.
Yeah. You know, Greg Braden, are you familiar with Greg Braden?
No.
So I know we're going to get a mixed bag here with folks out there about Greg Braden. I've always enjoyed his work. You have to really look at it from I won't say skeptical point of view, because I'm not skeptical of what he's saying, because I've used what I'm about to tell you, and it works, and it's in line with resonance. But I don't know, he turns some people off because he kind of comes across as very, well, sometimes he sounds very religious, but he's really not. Just a really spiritual guy. Anyways, he talks about how to empower your prayers and broadcast them with your emotions. So he's really big into resonance too. And for one of our book series, I may pick that book, and we'll go through it, but kind of as a follow up to this show. But we talk about our emotions on this show being messengers usually. Well, when we're talking about resonance, though, we need to kind of shift our perspective on our emotional state and think of it like the thing that powers our broadcast out, right?
Yeah.
So if your thoughts are the signals or the message you want to send, your emotional states is that power booster that's going to propel it and give it some weight. And this is the type of frequency that the universe will respond to. So
Yeah. One thing to contemplate for anyone listening is there's the emotional guidance scale, and it tells you the different levels of resonancy within emotions. And I challenge anyone listening, I'll attach a link to it to the show notes, that is the scale. And when you look at it, ask yourself, where am I primarily fluctuating in? Now, I did a 4-month long test with this very chart where
mhm,
4 times a day I was marking where am I at on this chart to figure out where my baseline was. And we got to move through the emotional scale. So, like, if we're dealing with grief, we got to work our way up to anger, into courage, into the different stages of our emotions to raise our frequency. And it's not something where you can jump from the bottom to the top. You might
mhm,
have these bursts where you can jump to higher sectors, but you're going to be resonating more often than not on one or two specific energies. So use that as a guide to help you figure out, where is my vibration right now? How much am I manifesting what I want in life, or how much is life manifesting what it wants in life? Because often one of the places we get stuck in consciousness as we're doing the healing journey is we go from life is me and life is creating itself around me to life is happening to me. And when we get stuck in that mentality, that's when the victim mentality kicks in. That's when the blame starts to kick in. And that's when we really start operating on those lower planes of consciousness.
Well, and that's why our teachings really, really instruct us and encourage us to operate from this place of joy and gratitude, especially from joy, gratitude, contentment, wholeness, these kinds of things. And because we become more receptive, because on the other hand, you could be, if we're kind of operating on this frequency from something where, we're longing or we're desperate or we're jealous, because really we're saying, I don't have it, I'm not worthy of it, I'm afraid I'll never get it. So
It just
that's why
pushes things away more and more.
it does. It does. This is not a fake it till you make it type of thing. As we always say, this is about practice and practice and practice again. And then when you perfect it and master it, start practicing all over again.
Yep.
So instead of fake it till you make it, Michael, let's call it feel it till you become it. Maybe. I don't know.
Feel it till you spiel it. Now,
Yeah.
we'll find a good catchy phrase.
I couldn't think of another word after feel it, but really you're just trying to tune yourself into the right frequencies,
Which is the most important part of this law.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be, like you were saying earlier, a vibrational match to the life you want. That was one of the biggest areas I struggled the most, wanting to become an entrepreneur, and all the times I tried was I always had the dream, the vision. I would start taking those action steps, but I never once stopped to ask myself, who is it that I would have to become to live the life and pursue the dream I am pursuing? Because who that is was vastly different than who I was. From confidence to sales skills. And it doesn't mean you can't jump into something without these things, but you must be realistic on what it's going to take for you to become successful in the dreams you pursue.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. If you want love, embody love. Not just affection towards others. And this might feel like I'm picking on you, but I'm not. But radical self-compassion. If you want wealth, embody sufficiency, not scarcity. And this isn't scarcity dressed in a hustle, all right? But this calm knowing, this calm, still, peaceful knowing that your needs are met and they always will be met, and that your gifts have value.
Well, I think a big thing is kind of like what you're saying. You got to embody contentment.
Yes.
The more you're constantly chasing want, the more you're constantly chasing what's next, the more and more you're operating from a place of lack instead of fulfillment.
Yeah. Yeah. You really have the power to shape the architecture of your reality. We have axioms that talk about that. And this topic is such a great one. I love this topic because it touches upon so many different parts of our teachings. And you have the power to be the architect of your reality, not because you are going to control everything, but because it opens you up to receive what is already trying to reach you. I was talking to Heather last week about opportunities, and we were talking about this opportunity she has in front of her. She has to make a decision about it at work. And the thing about opportunities are, there's this saying that opportunities only knock once or knock twice or something. Well, how does that go? I don't even remember it because it's such a bullshit saying.
Opportunities only knock twice. Yeah, that sounds familiar, but I can't think what the...
That's absolute crap. The universe is trying to push opportunity to you all the time. The problem is most of us just don't see it, or we're scared if we don't take it, then it'll never happen again. We have to shift our mindset and align our emotional state and our whole being to resonate with the idea that opportunity knocks all the time. You just have to be, willing to accept that if I don't take this opportunity, that particular opportunity may not come again, but there will always be plentiful opportunities. The universe doesn't just come and then say, well, he doesn't care, to the pits with him. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not how this works. It's not how this works, but that's the mindset people have. We don't control some of this process because it's not to us to control. We just need to be ready. I say that a lot, right? We just need to make sure we get ourselves ready. So the question is not, how can I attract more of this? The question is, what frequency am I living today? And does that resonate with the things that I want?
Yeah.
With the things that I say I want. And if I'm not vibing with what I keep saying I want, maybe I don't actually want that. And I have to kind of go inside and figure that part out.
Right. Well, I love Courtney's analogy, who we had an interview with a while back and she was talking about how law of attraction is kind of like baking a cake. You learn the skills, you make the batter, you put it in the pan, you put it in the oven, and you don't watch the cake. The cake will be ready when the cake is ready. And if luck is when preparation meets opportunity. It's one of my favorite quotes, and it's exactly this. Prepare yourself. Work on things that help bring you closer to your dream, and the universe will meet you in the middle in its own time. But as you put that manifestation out there, the universe will meet you when you're ready to help give you all the things you want if you're really resonating with this dream of yours.
Yeah, that was that was very insightful. She's such a cool lady.
Right?
I got to finally meet her in person at your wedding, which was really cool. She did such a great job on the ceremony.
Oh, she did. She did amazing.
You guys had some part in it, but she was great.
A small part. So when talking about law of attraction and these things we hold back, like we've brought up shadow work several times in multiple episodes. It is a key part of our teachings. Why is shadow work so important when it comes to the law of attraction?
Because you cannot change your vibration. And in this case, it's usually raising it, maybe, by ignoring or bypassing your pain. You just can't. And yes, we talk about shadow work a lot because it permeates everything we do, whether you're on this path or not. Just this path forces us to face it. And because, we teach that you have to feel it to heal it.
Yeah.
A lot of spiritual teachings are twisted into this performance type thing, which makes it hard for me because all I can really put out to the world is like the basics of our teachings, because I don't teach to people the same way. You get the same basics, but once we get away from the basics and we start playing, right? We start playing out in the playground. It's different. So I don't do this whole performance-based thing because too many of those are kind of twisted into that. And you can't do true shadow work or learn how to resonate and align if everything is a competition or performance. Because really what ends up happening is that people just put on that mask of positivity. I'm so happy. Everything's so perfect. Blah, 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 blah. And what that does is cause people to have shame for having, how dare you have real, raw human emotions? How dare, no, right? That doesn't work.
Well, it's one of the reasons therapy doesn't work with so many people is so many people go into a therapist thinking that's a place where I need to wear a mask and show how strong I am and express my frustration.
And they lie to the therapist. And they just lie to the therapist. You're spending $150 an hour to lie to somebody? I'd rather buy stock in the M&M company or something. I don't know. But, again, for us, and you guys have heard me say this a million times, and for as long as I draw a breath, you're going to keep hearing this. In the way of Ashla, truth is sacred. And the truth is, when you have unacknowledged pain that still vibrates, it doesn't go away just because you smile more. It doesn't disappear because you made a vision board that says, I'm so happy.
What's like Gabor Mate, reading his work, it is fascinating. Again, I was one of those toxic positivity people for most of my adult life. It was shove it down, put a smile on, look for the silver lining. And as much as looking for the silver lining isn't a bad thing, when we repress these emotions, there is medical research that shows the damage it does to your immune system. When you're constantly not standing up for your betterment, your immune system is going to learn that it doesn't need to stand up for you. And you'll see higher cases of cancer in people who are people pleasers than you will in any other subset because of this innate lowering of their vibration, because even though they're projecting positivity and letting the world burn around them while keeping their head above the smoke, their soul knows.
Right, because suppressed emotions lower your resonance, even when you think positive all the time. And there is such a thing as toxic positivity, which that's a whole another rabbit hole that we probably should go down at another time. Listen, light is about truth. And it isn't about pretending to be perfect or happy all the time or only exhibiting good emotions, right?
Oh, I completely agree.
It's about seeing things clearly. And that includes seeing the parts of yourself that are still hurting, still hiding, trying to heal. And emotions are energy in motion. When you suppress it, you create dissonance again within your field, within your resonance, and it creates misalignment or disharmony.
When it's so easy to fall into that trap. I mean, we talk all the time about authenticity, but we talk about it so often because it's something that truly takes time, energy, and effort to cultivate and maintain. Because it's easy to slide into societal standards, cultural norms, our own perception of how we should be in the world compared to how we actually are. And
Mm-hmm.
that is the most important emotion we can have, because they they talk about resonance and emotions. They found the only emotion more powerful than love is authenticity. And it's because it's such a pure vibration. The water has it out for you today.
I know, man. It's spicy, I guess. Well, listen, authenticity, if there was an end goal, if there was, which there isn't, or a finish line, it would be authenticity, complete authenticity, because that is complete truth. That's where you're aligned completely with truth. And what's beautiful about that is that looks so much different for each person, which is why we say, it's not a race. But if there were a finish line, if there were, this end enlightenment, it would be authenticity as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Because that is complete light. That is complete truth. So,
well, and I think when we start getting into this authenticity, and we start getting into this place of truth all the time, it creates emotional congruence. It creates this synergy where all things are happening within you that feel natural, and you're responding effectively, and you're taking things in effectively. It's that inner locus of control, but also having unconditional love for everything outside of you.
yeah.
It is truly the embodiment of going with the ebb and flow of life.
And I know there'll be some people that say, well, yeah, but the law of attraction is about positivity, and shadow work is not positive. I understand that shadow work is not a detour from manifestation. It doesn't remove you from that. It's a direct path to it, because it's a path to that embodiment. The more you allow this truth, your emotions, and you're not performing all the time, to move through you with honesty, the more aligned your field becomes naturally and integrated.
So how can we start to shift ourselves from this lower vibration to something higher? What are some techniques we can use?
So you want to know how we do this, Michael?
Yes.
Okay, I want you to do this. Do this with me.
So how do we do this?
I want you to do this. And then we're going to do the Professor X. And the circles come out of our head. You know the circles like in the cartoon?
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
X-Men's both my jam.
Because really all you need to do, Michael, is think harder. Just think harder. just think more. Think harder. Force yourself into this really fake positivity. No, we need to practice and practice and practice. And by doing that, we start to creating real alignment, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, alignment, right? It starts in here, as all things do on this path, and these practices that we teach and that we practice ourselves. Your outer world or your inner world will project out into the outer world. So let's do some embodiment practices. Start there. Start with those. You don't just visualize your dreams, you feel them. It's not enough to see the life that you want. You got to start to embody the emotional state that matches it. Think of yourself holding a lottery ticket, maybe. And I'm not encouraging or discouraging anyone from playing the lottery. I don't want any letters about that. Okay. But it's just an easy one too, or just whatever game of chance. And, you're scratching it and you're scratching it. And then you hit 50 times. You see the 50 times thing. And you're like, oh my God, what's under there? What's the dollar amount? And then you can imagine yourself hitting $100 times 50 or something. But really what I'm saying is you feel yourself seeing that type of thing, right? So and imagine how that would feel. You'd be super excited, be like, oh yeah, be screaming and hooting and hollering and all this stuff. And I'd be yelling for everybody to gather around to see what I've done, right?
Right.
And then you kind of imagine yourself saying, who would I be if I already had this? Or what does that look like? What does that feel like to already do that type of thing? What would that version of you feel like in your body, this body? What would that version of me in my visualization feel like in this body? Oh, it'd be like, yeah, it'd be crazy, right?
Yeah.
How
Wanting
would
the
you walk into a room?
confidence.
How would you walk? Yeah, how would you walk into the lottery office with that thing? You're like, and there's background music playing, probably, right?
Yeah.
How would you treat yourself? So that's one, an embodiment practice.
Well, I think that's a really powerful one. Look at Star Wars. I love this little bit where Yoda's having Luke grab the cannon. He's lifting up the cannon. He's like, now do the spaceship. And he's like, that's too big. I can't do that. And he's just like, it's the same thing.
Right.
It's the same thing. You just got to stop denying yourself that and know that you can do it.
Right. You got to learn some regulation techniques.
Yes.
To right.
Well, I think that's
what are some good regulation techniques to help us?
Breathing. That's always
probably before the embodiment one. This is probably a better one to start with, right?
Yeah. Well, we got to learn how to be present within our bodies, because once we get to the point where we can feel our emotions, then we need to learn how to regulate ourselves around our emotions. So now it's like we feel anger, we can bring ourselves back to peace. We're feeling anxiety or fear, we can bring ourselves back to that stable place. And so breathing, meditation, movement, all these different things can help us in either removing energy, embodying more energy, or bringing ourselves to a place of a higher vibration.
Let's get back to gratitude.
Yeah.
And how we use it, right? And it's not a trick to get more stuff, because that's not going to work anyway. It's about using the feeling and the embodiment of gratitude to shift how you see things, but also how you receive. I've always taught that receiving is just as important as giving. But that feeling that you give when you give somebody something is so cool, right?
Yeah.
It's such a great feeling. It feels so good. You need to learn how to receive that way too. The same feeling. Because gratitude goes both ways. You're grateful that you have something and now you're sharing it, but that same kind of gratitude, now I have it. And this kind of naturally, organically raises that frequency that we're talking about, your resonance.
Well, it's like when you're focused on gratitude, this is sort of that, instead of going from I want in prayer, it's I have. When you're focused on gratitude is very much rooted into what is present, what can I be grateful for in this moment? And as much as there might be a few things that you're building in the future you're grateful for, most things you're thankful for are, I'm thankful for my relationships, the roof over my head, food in my belly, these things that are really there right now. And it can help us really tuning into that vibration of abundance, because that gratitude is rooted into what we already have.
Right. And like we always say, don't underestimate the power of small steps. Don't underestimate this unfolding that happens little by little, because as you practice and as you start to take these small steps, they will compound into powerful energetic change, alchemy in your life. They do. And that applies to everything we talk about, every aspect of your life. And also let go of needing everything to look the way you exactly want it to look. We say that a lot too. I'm always like smacking hands, knock it off. Stop trying to control everything. Right?
Well, I think this ties into another really important thing, is as you're manifesting things in your life, the universe may have bigger plans. Hey, I wanted to buy this home, now I got a ranch. Don't be attached to the outcome. The more you can make movements forward while surrendering the need to have a specific outcome or control a scenario, the more options will open up to you, and the more you will be able to attract bigger and better things into your life.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Don't talk yourself into less, Yeah. And we do all the time.
I was talking earlier about how I had that embodiment of expect the worst, hope for the best. And as much as that mentality got me through a lot of crap, it never really brought me a lot of crap either, because
it's a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
Remember, we gotta push past survival if we want to start flourishing. And that's what every single topic we talk about, Michael, on this show, every single teaching that we do everywhere else in the world is about getting out of that, focusing in on the healing and getting past that survival stage, so that the world and the universe just infinitely opens up for you when you let it. Don't try to control it, though, because nothing's perfect except for that perfect harmony in the universe.
Well, do you have any other thoughts you want to leave with our listeners before we get into the exercises?
I do. And I do have a prayer for us today.
I was wondering.
So again, it almost sounds like we're picking on the law of attraction. What was the name of that movie? The Secret, right? That's always kind of like people always make fun of The Secret. We're not picking on the law of attraction. But again, the truth is the law of attraction only works when your resonance supports it. And that's really what we're talking about today. You can speak affirmations all day, which you will here in a little bit. But if your energy, your emotions, and your state of being aren't aligned with what you're asking for, or what you maybe not asking for, what you want, you'll feel blocked or you'll get frustrated and stuff won't work. And you become disillusioned because you're not manifesting much of anything if you're trying to, especially if you're trying to force everything or control it. And this isn't us pointing to your failure, yours or ours or anyone else's. It's feedback. We're giving you feedback, right? So I invite everyone to pause and reflect on this question. What am I a vibrational match for in this moment or right now? Not from shame, not from pressure of me saying it, just think harder, but from curiosity, from a place of clarity and self-awareness. So are you broadcasting trust, gratitude, and sufficiency, and not lack and fear and self-doubt? Again, the universe does not respond to your words. Our words are how we align with our body, yeah? So it responds to your energy. And so the real question is not how do I get what I want? It's how do I become who I am in my highest form? So that's what I would leave everyone with today.
Beautiful. And you said you got a prayer as well?
I do. So you know what that means. Let's close our eyes. Divine source of love and light, I breathe into this moment and I return to the truth of who I am. I release the need to chase, to force, or to perform. I remember what is meant for me responds to who I become, not what I beg for. I am not separate from the light I seek. I am its reflection in motion. As I soften into authenticity, I rise into alignment. I honor every emotion, not as a weakness, but as a message. I feel to heal. I integrate to become whole. I let go of the illusion of control. I surrender to the outcome and I trust the process. I am a vibrational match for peace, for love, for truth, for abundance in all its sacred forms. May my resonance invite miracles. May my wholeness draw forward what serves my highest path. And may the energy I live in become the beacon for the life I am destined to embody. And so it is.
I'm glad we started incorporating these.
You can open your eyes now.
So bright. So for our affirmations today, I am a vibrational match to the life I desire. I embody the energy of everything I seek. I do not chase. I attract by being aligned. My energy is magnetic, grounded in truth and abundance. I feel, act, and show up as the version of me who already has it.
And feel those. Feel those.
Believe it in your being.
Yes.
For our exercise today, embody the future you and feel it now. To align with your emotional frequency with the version of you who already has what you desire, so you resonate with it naturally and attract it. 1. Pick a desire. Choose something specific you want to attract. Relationship, financial abundance, creative success, peace, whatever it is. Step 2. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and now visualize the version of you that already has it. How do they feel when they wake up? What kind of energy do they carry? How do they walk, talk, think, and treat themselves? What have they let go of? What boundaries do they keep? What emotions live in their body most days? Now for the next step, feel it. Don't just see it. Let the feeling of already have it expand through your chest, your breath, your posture, your very being. And then ask yourself, what is one small action I can take today that aligns me with this version of me? Then do it, not from pressure, but from identity. You're not doing it to get there. You're doing it because you are there.
Because you are there. I love that.
Exactly what we're talking about here. And for our journaling prompt, what emotions do I consistently feel when I think about what I want? And do these emotions reflect having it or lacking it? Really pick on something that you are trying to manifest in your life and ask yourself, are you going through resistance? Are you going through abundance when it comes to this thing? Well, thank you for joining us today and getting through this episode. With love and gratitude, Ad Lucium.
Ad Lucium.